My name's Father Jim Kiter, and I am pleased to have this opportunity to offer a little tribute to Father John Pietramale as we honor him this year at this Christ Child Soiree. We were given this list of questions, which I had to chuckle as I read them, but question number 1, describe Father John in one word. I'm going to have to say dynamo. He never stops. He is always going 150 miles per hour, and it's hard to catch up and hard to keep up. So definitely dynamo. What are your first memories of Father John? I met him as I was a student at Cedar Catholic High School in Hardington, Nebraska. He was a seminarian, and he was living at Holy Trinity Rectory with Father Frank Dvorak, and he taught our theology class my spring semester, I believe in my junior year in high school. And probably my fondest memory of that was during Holy Week. Somehow he cornered me into not only serving but being the MC for the Triduum liturgies, and which also meant I had to go in and practice with the servers and everyone. I also had to help him decorate the church, and if you've ever had to help him decorate a church, it's intense. And probably the thing I remember most was preparing for Holy Saturday, where we blessed the new fire, blessed the new water, and he had found a 25 or 30 gallon crock pot and decided that we were going to fill it with water in the sacristy and then carry it out into the sanctuary. Well, he and I could not lift these 30 gallons of water. He had not calculated that. So he decided, well, let's just slide it. Well, if you have any sense of physics, when you stop a crock pot filled with water, the water continues to move even though the crock pot doesn't. Needless to say, at least 15 of the 30 gallons went out onto the church floor carpet, and I stood there laughing. I was also wet and the water splashing on me. He stood there laughing, and we had to figure out a new way to get this heavy crock pot with water to where it was supposed to be for the Holy Saturday Mass. What is Father John like as a friend, a brother priest, pastor? I'd say just a great role model. He's been a great example for me, and I always tease him that I hope I can be like him when I grow up. What do you respect most about Father John? His passion. He is very passionate about Christ Child. He is passionate about our Catholic schools. He is passionate about his parish. And that shows in his constant desire to want what's best for his parishioners and the people he serves. What I respect most, do you think Father John should upgrade his flip phone for his 60th birthday? You know, he could upgrade it, but it's worthless because he would never know how to use it. And how serious is Father John's ADD problem? Well, any of us that know him recognize that that's just part of who he is. So live with it, learn how to deal with it. Have you ever had to complete a conversation for Father John? Have I ever had a complete conversation with Father John? No, I enjoy. When he calls me, the first comment is always, what are you doing? And when I call him, his first comment is always, can I call you back? Of which typically it's 24 to 48 hours later that I get a call back. Could Father John carry on a conversation with his hands tied behind his back? It'd be very difficult, but I'm sure he'd still get the movement in from his shoulders and his head, even though he wouldn't have his hands to speak with, but he'd still accomplish it. If Father John were the superhero, which one would he be, and what would be his superpower? I'd have to say he would be one of the X-Men. He had his superpower would be bilocation, because it's unbelievable. He makes it from a parish function to a funeral to College of St. Mary's Mass to a meeting and back to the parish, and I don't know how he does it. He bilocates. He is able to get places, and I think he is at multiple places at the same time. He has that superhero power already. And how has he been a superhero to Christ Child? Going back to his passion. He's a product of Christ Child. And so his time on the board that I was blessed to be a part of, his time as president of the board, and just his constant perseverance and passion to promote and make the best for Christ Child. So evident. So God bless you, Father John, and you are a great recipient of this year's Honorary Christ Child. God bless you.
Congratulations, Father Pietramale. You're one of the best. Here's some things I just wanted to say to you that meant very much to me at the time and still. When you baptized our youngest grandson, and they were so thrilled that you gave them the shell that you baptized him with. They'll always have that as a great keepsake. And when my uncle passed away, I came down to Pius to get you to see if you would help me find an Italian saying, and you did. And it was so much fun in such a critical time. And the last thing that I really appreciate was when Morris and I were out for dinner and you were there and gave us an after-dinner drink. That was so special. You mean a lot to me and to a lot of people. You do so much good for people, and I love you dearly. And happy birthday. Bye-bye. Love you.
Describe Father Pietramale in one word. Loved. What are your first memories of Father John? Father Pietramale was the favorite priest for my next door neighbors, Romaine Murphy and her husband John. He'd go over there all the time, and they were fun people, so I knew Father Pietramale had to be fun too. What was Father Pietramale like as a child, friend, brother, leader, priest? Well, I know Father Pietramale mainly because of the relationships that he has with people, and those people are also friends of mine. So I did not know him as a child or as a brother, but I've always known him as a guy who really cares about people. What do you respect most about Father Pietramale? I would say that I respect most the fact that he gave his life to serve Christ. And I also think he gives priests a good name. Do you think Father John should upgrade his flip phone for his 60th birthday? I think smartphones probably increase the ADHD of society, so it might not be a good idea. Have you ever had a complete conversation with Father John? Do 4 partial conversations add up to 1 full conversation? If so, then yes. Could Father John carry on a conversation with his hands tied behind his back? Impossible. If Father John were a superhero, which one would he be, and what would be his superpower? I would say Father Pietramale would be Superman, and his power would be X-ray vision to help him see through people and see where they need support. And then how he has been a superhero for Christ Child Society, well, he will definitely leap tall buildings in a single bound to support the Christ Child Society. And he has been dedicated and faithful and loyal to the Christ Child Society. And thank you, Father Pietramale, for all of your service, and have a happy birthday.
I have worked with Father Pietramale on various boards and committees, and if I had to describe him in one word, I would say perceptive. He thinks about things that always surprises me. Sometimes I feel like he can read my mind, and it makes him extremely easy to work with because he can tell what people are worried about or maybe what they're afraid to say, and that makes him a wonderful partner in getting things accomplished. So when I think about Father John and how he has worked with Christ Child, I think about one of our annual meetings, terrible weather, rain, sleet, snow combination, and we were honoring a couple who were both in their 90s, and I was worried about them getting out in the weather, and I said, Father, I don't think this is going to work. How are they going to get here? And he said, I'm sending a car. And I said, whose car? What car? And he said, I called Bill Cutler and told him to send a limo to pick them up. And that is another example of his ability to build relationships with different people that he has worked with. And you know, when Father Pietramale calls and asks you to do something, it's usually not for him, it's for someone else. He's very unselfish.
One of the questions they asked us for this interview was, have you ever had a complete conversation with Father Pietramale? And I'd have to say, complete is not the right word. I've had several conversations with Father Pietramale all at the same time, interspersed with the words comical and I'm sorry. But to say I've ever had a complete conversation with Father Pietramale would not be accurate. Father Pietramale has always been not only church-centered. Father Pietramale is not always has. Don't. They're going to fix it.
Okay.
Father Pietramale has always been church-centered, but also very, very school-centered. I think his favorite part of the year is the first day of school when all the kids are coming back. I remember one year at Christ the King when Father Pietramale had a very zealous new priest working with him as an associate. This new priest, fresh off the boat from Rome, wanted to really get out the incense and really smoke up the church to impress these children of all the traditions that are so rich in our Catholic faith. Father Pietramale, being perceptive, turns to the young priest and says, Brian, vomit. These kids are going to vomit. They haven't had breakfast, they're all nervous as cats, and if you smoke up this church, there's going to be vomit everywhere.
To describe Father John in one word, I would say very busy, and everywhere is John Pietramale. What is your first memories of this Father John? His first Mass, which took forever. What is Father John like as a child, friend, brother, leader, priest? He's very inspiring, very much involved in everything. I don't think there's anything he's not involved in. What you respect most about Father John is that he is very dedicated to his priesthood. Do you think Father John should upgrade his flip phone for his 60th birthday? I think he should absolutely get the latest iPhone and join the 21st century. Let's see here. Have you ever had a complete conversation with Father John? Very seldom do I ever have a complete conversation. It's very curt, very quick, and very much over in a very short time. How serious is Father John's ADD problem? I think he needs medication, and he needs it now. Have you ever had a complete conversation? Oh, I did that. Could Father John carry on a conversation with his hands tied behind his back? He's Italian. Italians cannot speak without their hands. It doesn't make any sense without their hands. If Father John were a superhero, which one would he be? What would be a superpower? I'll pass on that one. How has Father John been a superhero to Christ Child Society? Christ Child Society was a very important part of my history, and he's continuing the legacy, and I appreciate all that he does for the Christ Child. He deserves any award that comes his way.